by number 8, Abby Gardner, their libero tonight, 5'7", out of Lagwanago, Wisconsin. For the Oakland Grizzlies, we have number 6, Emily Wickman, defensive specialist out of Crescent Springs, Kentucky. We have number 8, Haley Brown, junior out of Springsboro, Ohio. Number 10, Anna Nye, redshirt freshman out of Gahanna, Ohio. Number 14, Jessica Riedel, a senior out of Chicago, Illinois. Number 21, Patty Cesarini, redshirt freshman out of LaGrange Park, Illinois. Number 29, Kara Cornist, a senior out of Auburn, Kentucky. And holding them all together today, number 3, Lindsay Whiteman, a senior out of Lake Orion, Michigan, who is their libero today. We are about to get underway here. Starting off the serve will be Haley Brown for the Golden Grizzlies. Was right to Gardner on that one. Junta with a big attack, and that one is over, and Golden Grizzlies will start the game with the lead. The Phoenix know they're on a tough team, and they have to play quite aggressively. As they fall short. Again, a nice little tap over the net there by Cesarini. Brown again with the serve. Gardner. Gentry. Zakutny gets that one to fall after bouncing off the hands of the Golden Grizzlies net defenders. She's got a powerful strike there, and it's very hard to block. You can see it right here, just putting enough energy that it just bounces off the hands, and not a whole lot you can do about trying to recover that one. And they will quickly bring in an offensive substitution, Zoe Sorelli. Shelley with a good serve. Quick back and forth. This time it was Riedel unable to get that one through as the Phoenix quickly tie this one up 2-2. Sorelli ready, giving the signal for the serve. Nice low. And this one just falls short of the net. Unable to make a play on it was the Grizzlies. It was an excellent chance by Wickman there to try to get something going, but a little too much power and unable to get it properly set by the net. Goes Sorelli another chance here to increase the lead. Good flicks back and forth. Good read by Junta to try to get that one. Here is Zakutny. Zakutny getting that one to hit. Some big efforts here. Excellent job by Cesarini to try to keep that one in play after some wild plays in the back. Just try to keep it off the floor. But the Phoenix quickly take a 4-2 lead in this one. As the defense for the Golden Grizzlies have yet to find their pace. Here's Sorelli. And this one falls out. Oakland gets an easy point on that one. There's a good read by the defense. You can see a couple of the athletes in the backcourt ducking out of the way of that one. This will brings up Anna Nye for the serve. Good serve by Nye. And a good stop at the net, that one. Green Bay just barely able to recover this one going. Cesarini with a nice attack there. Gentry to Junta. Junta gets it there and just keeping that one alive. Excellent coordination by the Golden Grizzlies on that one. Here's Zakutny with another opportunity, and she finds the floor on that as the Phoenix score on that volley. Excellent job by both teams going back and forth so far. Very good coordination by both teams as well to start this one off. Both teams knowing where to play their zones and not getting each other's way. We've seen both these teams struggle a little bit in the openings. Try to get that one forward. Cesarini sending that one over. Gentry, Zakutny, blocked at the net. Good pickup by Gardner as Gentry sets that one over the net. Here's an opportunity for Cesarini. And this one a bit back and forth. Looks like it caught in between Paulman and Gentry. Not a whole lot you can do in response to that. Nice serve by Dalmage. And this one finds the corner perfectly. Wonderfully placed, expertly hit. You can see it right here. Paulman just finds that back corner. She shoots right through those two defenders in Dalmage and Wickman. As Green Bay is able to maintain their 2-point lead. Sakutny. Right to Whiteman on that one. Big setup. That was Walling getting that one going. And this one just finds the line as Shannon Coughlin gets the kill. You see right there, just right on the line. Referee there had a perfect view of it. Was able to make that call. Good pick up by Whiteman there. That was a beautiful kill by Jamie Walling. Walling not in the starting lineup for today. She normally is, but making her appearance quickly. Gentry with a quick flick trying to catch him off guard. Here's a big attack by Welch. Welch got that one going, but it was Coughlin was able to recover that and send that one back over. Cesarini just sends that one back. Junta, Gentry. Here's Paulman, who's able to get that one to fall. It was right through the hands of Welch and Cornist. It was a good effort by Oakland, trying to get that one stopped at the net. This will bring up Gardner with the serve. This one falls short as it hits the net, as Oakland will get an easy point. Whiteman comes it over to Gentry. Quick flip, and this one looks like it hit out of bounds, but tip off the hands of the defender, who made an impulsive reaction on that one and ill-advised, as it was definitely careening over. This will give Gentry here the serve. Nice late, right to Cesarini. Whiteman sends that one up. Good attack, but interrupted by Coughlin there. Coughlin had a good attack as well, picked up at the net. Here's another opportunity. Stuffed at the net, another quick back and forth, bouncing all around. This one out of bounds. Eaton had a good look at it. You can see it right here. It was a good job by Whiteman as well to stay out of the way on that one. That's only experience that you as a senior can get. The serve picked up by Gardner. Gentry sends it over. Coughlin with a kill. Excellent job by the Phoenix of keeping this one going, keeping the energy high. They're facing a very tough team in Oakland, and they're doing their best to stay on top early and not give up these leads. As this Oakland team is strong, it would not give up a lead once having it. Nice light attack there by Riedel, but Gardner was there, and a huge stop at the net by Nye. Nye timed that perfectly and got that block off, and the Green Bay were unable to recover. This is Brown with the serve, and letting that one go wisely was Green Bay. Looks like it'll be Strelly coming in again for the serve. And this one a bit wide as Oakland picks up the point. Oakland still down by 2. Brings up Anna 9. The serve. Nicely picked up. Gentry, Zakutny just lightly getting this one over, and unable to get there in time was Brown. Brown made a nice diving effort to get her hand underneath, but just push it in just the wrong direction. You can see right here, read it nicely, but with having to do that dive and having to brace herself off the floor too, just not an easy position to be in. So we'll give Green Bay another shot with Junta here. And this one wide. It looks like the point given to Green Bay. Did not see the referee's call on that one. As my view is blocked by the net. But a lucky call for Green Bay as the serve was wide. So an easy point for Green Bay there. Junta here, another opportunity. This one falls nicely right into the hands of Brown as they get this one set up, as Cesarini is able to get that one over the net, but it was stuffed there by Green Bay. As Green Bay widens their lead 14-9. Junta here looking to try to push the Phoenix to the 15-point mark. And this one is out.
Point, Oakland.
As Oakland takes an easy point again. Junta a little wild so far in her serves today. Some of them have gotten lucky and been picked up by Oakland. Others have fallen out as Oakland has been able to read those ones a little better. It's a good serve by Dalmage here. Here is Zakutny just lightly tapping this over, trying to find the floor. Dalmage is there though. Gardner there this time as Gentry sets it for Zakutny one more time. A huge attack though, back and forth. Gentry one more time as Paulman finds the floor, but this is out of bounds, just barely missing the line. It was a good rally back and forth by both teams. Oakland came back out on top on that one. You can see it just barely misses the line. Gentry sets that one to Paulman. Good pickup by Whiteman on that one. And Cesarini sends this one back. Picked up Gentry. Paulman sends that one through again. This one just not finding the floor as Whiteman is underneath. Dalmage having to send that one over just out of necessity. Zakutny though with a big attack. Whiteman to Brown to Cesarini. Sends that one right on over to Banky. Gentry, here's Paulman again on the attack. Whiteman keeping that one in. Here's Cornice. Letting that one fall was Gentry. And an excellent rally back and forth once again as both teams are putting their best foot forward right now. And we'll be taking a quick timeout right here. Stay with us for more Horizon League volleyball at the Crest Event Center.
It's always out there. The horizon. A reminder that our greatest goals are rarely attained. And as soon as you reach one, another emerges. But every day we rise and work harder, dig deeper, ask one more question, take one more shot in relentless pursuit of our horizon.
I'll never stop learning.
Because life never stops teaching.
Education equals power.
Once you have it,
no one can take it away.
No one. No one.
Education opens doors.
By asking the hardest questions.
About justice and peace.
Answering our biggest challenges.
Because we can never stop believing.
No matter who you are, where you're from,
or what you want to be.
What matters most is that
we never stop learning.
Because together, we rise.
And we are back here at the Crest Event Center. It has been a close one so far to begin this first set, 15-11. Green Bay on top right now over Oakland. But it's been a very interesting match so far, as it's been a very defensively centered, as in more points have been scored off the block assist than they have on kills for both teams. Green Bay up though, with tied though with kills and block assist total. Both these games have been real aggressive at the net, as these teams have been struggling to find a clean kill to hit the floor. But it is the Green Bay kill leader up in Alexander Zakutny here with the serve, looking to increase the Green Bay lead. As Whiteman picks that one up, as Cesarini sends that one over. Here's Gentry, and a fantastic stop at the net as Coughlin goes again. Light tap, another big stop. It was a wonderful job by the Golden Grizzlies, and it was Kira Kornst. Multiple big stops at the net. She did a fantastic job of reading that one. Coughlin went up several times to try to get an attack off, and Cornish was there every single one. It was Gentry setting up Paulman. This one getting through in time. White sets this one up. A nice light attack by Walling trying to get that one moving. Here's another attack opportunity. So it was Welch who's going to get the kill on that one. Green Bay doing what they can to try to keep that one alive. But those consecutive attacks by the Golden Grizzlies was hard to deal with, as it will bring up Cesarini again. Here is Gentry to Paulman. And it'll be this time Green Bay who will walk out on top of this one. Green Bay doing what they can to maintain this delicate lead. You can see that one just got trapped in between the hands of the net. Kira Kornish doing what she could. Big opportunity. Walling set that one forward. Huge, and this one just finding inside. What a wicked attack and kill by Alexander Zakutny. It'll be another timeout. We'll be staying here on this one. Oakland calls this timeout as they're trying to take this first set. But it's coming quite clear Green Bay has been able to read the Oakland defense quite well and was able to get around their valiant efforts at the net. We will see if Coach Beam will be able to make a couple adjustments for the Grizzlies. This is a team that is on the top right now of the records and the conference, while only being 9-4. Their win percentage of nearly 700 is quite good, and will most likely see them in the playoff tournament. But a win here in Green Bay will be big for them to try to secure that rankings. Green Bay, on the other hand, are desperately trying to stay in this one, as while they are fallen below 500 after losing 3 straight matches. They are looking to take a couple wins out of this team, trying to increase their chances of making a playoff appearance. I think both teams have finished up their huddle in the timeout and are retaking the court. It'll be Green Bay's turn with the ball as Abby Gardner is here with the serve. And an ace for Gardner, as it looked like a bit of a misread in the backcourt, as both Whiteman and Dolmage looked at each other to see if they had the ball, as it landed perfectly in between them. Here is Gardner again and trying to recreate the magic. This time Whiteman takes it, Dolmage sets it up, and a big attack by Walling, and this one falls short as it gets stopped at the net. Green Bay Phoenix taking a bit more commanding of a lead in this first set. You can see it right here. An excellent job by Coughlin. Was able to get that stop. Gardner again sends this one to Whiteman. Was it a nice attack by Welch? But Coughlin sends this one right back, and they find the floor. A bit of miscommunication errors have been happening on the Grizzlies side. And Oakland calls another timeout. Quick timeouts back to back. You can see right here as it came off the hands of Cornish. Multiple of the players did not know who was going to be, whose role was to pick it up. And it looks like right now on the Oakland side, all 4 coaches are having a quick strategy meeting as the team leaders for Oakland are having a quick chat about responsibilities. But Green Bay is getting their pep talk by Corey Schrader right now, as what they are doing is clearly working, and they need to keep this energy up. They've got a commanding 7-point lead as it's 20-13 right now. And if Green Bay wants to prevail against this strong Oakland team, this is exactly what their game plan needs to be. As far as team leaders go, for Oakland, leading the team in kills with only 2 is Patty Cesarini. Well, she also has a block assist. Oakland is still tied in points with block assists and kills, with only having 4 apiece, with the others coming off errors on Green Bay. Oakland's going to have to be a little more aggressive coming into this one if they're going to try to make a comeback in this set. But Gardner is here and looking to increase the lead and close this one out early. Whiteman sends that one up. Here is Wally, just send that one over. Gentry picks that one up. Gardner sets it. Here is Coughlin with a big attack. And getting through the hands of Oakland was the attack by Shannon Coughlin, as Gardner once again heads to the backcourt to increase this lead. You can see the huge efforts there is just off the hands of Cornish and Walling. Whiteman picking that one off the floor to Dahlman. Here is Welch getting that one, and this one just falling short. It was off the hands of Gentry, as she did what she could to stop that. But Oakland is picking up hopefully a tide turner right here, as it brings Whiteman to the backcourt for the serve. A quick substitution is made as well, and there's an ace right there by Whiteman. It was a much-needed point for Oakland, as they are still down 6 right now. Here is Gentry, and that was direct nicely to Eaton, who found her home, as Green Bay picks up another point. 22-15. Green Bay is on a roll, and our player spotlight, Callie Gentry, is here at the line with the serve. Right to Whiteman on this one. And a bad read by Zakutny, as Nye hit that one wild, but hit the hands of the defender nonetheless. Easy point for Oakland. Couple more substitutions by Oakland, as Walling and Dalmage take a step out. Here's Gentry, Coughlin. Coughlin gets it through and hit by the coach on that one, as it's going out of bounds. Not a huge opportunity for the Grizzlies to make a play on that one, but just trying to save his own bench was head coach Rob Breen making a stop. Green Bay 2 away from sealing the deal, as Cora Banky comes in with the serve. Nice low, a little bit of collision in the backcourt between Rickman and that. And a double hit called on Oakland, as it looked like Cesarini couldn't quite get a handle on it. Now 1 point, match point. Here we go, a big attack, trying to keep this one alive, and stop by Eaton there, and that will finish up the first set as Green Bay wins 25-16. We'll be taking a quick break here. We'll be right back here at the Crest Event Center for more Horizon League volleyball right after this. We are back here at the Crest Event Center. It was a very good first set between the Green Bay Phoenix and the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. Green Bay picked up that win 25-16. So far, it's all been Green Bay, though. They dominate every category so far except for two. Except for those two are the ones you do not want to dominate, as Oakland leads in ball handling errors and reception errors. Otherwise, so far, it has been all Green Bay, as their strategy for attacking the Grizzlies have been doing a fantastic job in this opening set. We will see if Rob Beam, head coach of Oakland, will be able to make some adjustments. But it looks like the players have been playing well enough. It is just catching them off guard. So have they tightened up their focus just a little bit, they should be able to come back from that first set dropped and give us a good matchup today. Like both teams are getting into possession. Another quick word from head coach Abby Sutherland for Green Bay, as Paulman gets a last-minute word. So also the two liberos there, Gardner and Sparks, giving some words on how to attack this. Signal is given to be underway, and it'll be Cora Banky once again starting this one off, as Green Bay is looking to take another quick second set. Here is Whiteman, this time to Walling. Wallman aggressively getting that one down, and Oakland once again will take the first point of the set. Walling made a good push on that one. Had a beautiful set by Whiteman as well. You can see it right there. Was able to just roll across the net. Good diving chance by Gardner there to getting underneath it. Not a whole lot you can do with that bad read off the net. We get a bad read. Whiteman's able to pick and salvage that one off. Walling sending that one over to Junta, to Gentry. Here is Zakutny slamming that one at the net. Junta giving that one again. There is Zakutny once again sending that one over. Here is Dolmage, sending that one to Nye, to Whiteman. Here is Welch, slamming that right at Gardner. Here is Junta with the attack. This one not finding the ground as Cesarini was there. And Zakutny was able to flick that one down. Very aggressive, attacking at the net. And Green Bay will tie this one up at 1 apiece. Fantastic job all around on both teams. You can see Zakutny read that. And it looked like it was going to be Welch trying to make an attack on that, but Zakutny got there first and able to slam that one down to the floor. And this will bring in Zoe Sorelli again for the serve. Right to Whiteman, getting caught up there was Dolman, and just looks like a little bit of a cluster there as Cesarini ran into Whiteman, and Dolmage had to make a awkward move for the ball, giving Sorelli another opportunity here at the line with the serve. Bad B right with Cesarini. Wonderful diving play by Kennedy Dolmage. But there's only so much you can do after a wild thing like that. But able to cover as much ground as she did, it should be recognized the same. Here's Sorelli again, looking to increase the lead. Whiteman there. Dolmage to Welch. Big pickup by Gentry. Sorelli here this time to Junta. Junta slamming that one down. Got right past the hands of Nye and Walling there as it found the gap as Green Bay takes a quick 4-1 lead. You can see it right here. They both went up and it just brushed the fingertips. And Green Bay picks up another point. Whiteman, Welch. Here is Walling, send that one over the backcourt. Right to Banky. Here is Gentry. This is Junta slamming that one and finding the backcourt. Green Bay is on a 5-point run right now, and Oakland is looking confused. You can see right there in the replay, Dolmage is doing what she could to try to cover that ground, but there's a lot of backcourt left open. And this time it was the front court left a bit open as this serve caught the net just a little bit, lost its momentum. Whiteman doing what she can to try to cover a lot of that open court. But when a ball suddenly loses speed like that, it's very hard to judge that trajectory. Here's Sorelli once again. She is on a roll so far with these serves. Here is Walling, send that one through. Gentry doing what she can, and it was sliding all the way to the stands was Banky. And Oakland gets their first point in a while. Some good rallies back and forth. A couple substitutions being made as Sorelli and Eaton take a seat for a minute. Catch their breath, both of them doing excellent jobs over that 6-point run. This will bring up the Grizzlies, though, and here's Gentry to Junta. Junta out as it hits the referee. That is an easy call for him. Not very often you see that. You'll be on your guard. This is Emily Wickman with the serve. Who just sends that one straight up. Gentry gets that one up and proper. Zakutny just sending that one forward. Whiteman, Wickman. That was a good job by Nye trying to keep that one going, but Zakutny sends that one rocketing forward. Cesarini was there. Here's Wickman once again. That was Riedel this time. Zakutny finds Whiteman. Couple slapping back and forth, some fighting at the night. Gardner has this one. Gentry sets it. Zakutny gets that one through, and this time it's a proper stop by Nye at the net. A wonderful rally back and forth as the Grizzlies are finding their pace. You can see some quick back and forth here. Like a big stop. Might look to be Riedel this time. Gentry sets that. Junta slams that one down. That one finds the backcourt as Green Bay takes their momentum back. 7-4 Green Bay to start this one out. We'll give Junta another shot here. She had a couple service errors earlier in the previous set. See if she has curbed those. That is a fantastic one. Whiteman picks this one up. Excellent shot by Walling on there. This one just lightly tapped over by Paulman, but Paulman unable to get that one to fall opposite net. Will give the Grizzlies another easy point. This brings Walling up to the line. As he picks this one up, here is Gentry. Going to get this one going. Wickman sends that one to Cesarini. Pulling it off the floor is Benke. Here's Gentry again. Here's Zakutny. Lightly tapping that one over the hands of the defenders. As Riedel and Nye could not do much, as it was just right over their hands. You can see how it just wonderfully stalled it. Beautiful job by the Phoenix. That brings up that Racing Stars Zakutny in for the serve. And this one a bit aggressive as that one out of bounds. 8-6 now. The Green Bay lead has been nearly halved as the Golden Grizzlies are only down by 2. Here is Nye with the serve. Nice serve to Junta. Gentry trying to get that one going. Excellent job getting that one going. Wickman called that one to Gardner. Here's Gentry again. Here's Coughlin slamming that one back. And this one just finding the back court. You can see the Green Bay team being psyched about it as their team takes like that a little more three-point comfortable lead at this time in the back. Here is Gardner. Send that one right to Whiteman. Whiteman to Brown. Brown sent that one right up to a little bit of a collision back there. Junta Jr. Can they send that one over? And this one did not clear the antenna. As Oakland will get an easy point. It was an excellent job by Junta to try to keep that one going, but it was just a little bit too outside. It's not clear that over the net. This brings up Dolmage. Serve, Gentry, Coughlin. This one, the point for Green Bay, as it was off the hands of the Oakland defenders once again. Here is Callie Gentry. The serve. This one wide. An easy point for Oakland. Here is Cesarini. She has been in the thick of things so far for this team. Right to Zakutny, Gentry, Coughlin, another opportunity here. And this one finds the floor. It was off the hands of several Grizzlies, but the final offenders were Dolmage and Cesarini, unable to get there in time. Quick back and forth. Those very low plays are very hard to defend against, though. Brings up Benke. Excellent job by Grizzlies keeping that one up and alive. Walling just unable to get it over the net. She was doing what she could to try to keep that one going, as the response from her team was a quick back and forth desperation attempts to keeping that one. Because she had to make a quick decision, she was unable to make a wise hit on that one. Whiteman calling. Here is Walling sending that one out as Green Bay picks up another point. Green Bay picks up their 5-point lead once again, 13-8. Dolmage to Whiteman to Walling. Zakutny. Junta had that one. Unable to make the stop. That ball comes towards the announcer's booth. Phoenix increased their lead, 14-8. Here's Banky looking for number 15. Walling, the big stop. Another good block of the net by the Phoenix. Here is Welch, just flicking that one over to Gardner, to Gentry. Just unable to get that over was Eaton. As Oakland picks up another point. Oakland 1 away from double digits. As the team is looking to find their bearing. This will bring up Lindsay Whiteman. Bring this up. Unable to get that one over. A little bit too far and hard on that one. As Oakland was able to slap that one right over the net. Gentry was there to try to make a set off of it, but it was too close to the net and trying not to get the violation. She had to give that one up. That gives Whiteman another opportunity. Here is Gentry this time with Sakutny slamming that one down. That'll be 15 points for Green Bay. And that'll be the timeout called as Green Bay reach the 15 mark. But we'll stay tuned with us here at the Crest Event Center as we'll be back with more Horizon League volleyball right after this message.
I'll never stop learning.
Because life never stops teaching.
Education levels the field.
Education equals power.
And opportunity.
Education ignites growth.
Once you have it,
No one can take it away.
No one.
no one.
No one.
Education opens doors.
By asking the hardest questions.
About justice and peace.
Ourselves and our world.
Answering our biggest challenges.
By burning through barriers.
Pushing, playing,
And inventing.
Because we can never stop believing in ourselves.
Blazing a future for everyone with one promise.
That no matter who you are, where you're
Or
from,
what you want to be, what matters most is that
We never stop learning.
standing up for each other.
using our power
To rise.
to rise.
To rise.
To rise.
We are back here at the Crest Event Center as Horizon League volleyball is underway. Green Bay is off to another dominant start as they lead by 5, 15-10. Green Bay's coordination has been fantastic. They have been dividing up a lot of these responsibilities that normally fall onto one player. Normally your kill leader would be Sakutny, but she is actually tied right now with Shannon Coughlin at 8 kills apiece. While Sakutny has 4 more in total attacks than Coughlin. Both players are getting their fair share of the action, which is causing Oakland to cause a little bit of miscommunication about trying to defend this Phoenix team. Here is Sorelli again. She started this one off with a beautiful 6-point run. Point, Oakland. And this one will be quickly an Oakland point. Because Oakland is looking to try to close this gap. You can see Sakutny and Paulman both trying their best at the net there. Unable to make it happen though. This will bring up Wickman. Beautiful serve to Huta. Here is Sakutny. Send that one to the back court. But Cesarini was there. Big attack by Walling. Gardner picks that one up after the stop. Gentry keeps that one going. Sakutny flicks that one to the back. Cesarini there. There is Wickman sending that one back over. Up to Gardner again. Here is Sakutny slamming that one. It is stopped at the net. As Riedel was there. Grizzlies trying to keep this momentum going. I see Nye and Riedel both protecting the net expertly there. Gardner calls this one to Gentry. Here is Hunter trying to slam that one down. And once again, the Golden Grizzlies get the point on the block assist. This brings up Emily Wickman once more for the serve. Junta unable to capitalize on that serve. Gives Oakland another easy point. You can see the disappointment red all over Junta's face on that one, as just playing that one wide. She's done that one a million times in practice, just unable to get it going. She got it that time, though, as Paulman spikes that one down as Green Bay takes that 2-point lead once again. Grizzlies were on a good roll there as they shorten this gap up. This will bring Junta up, looking to add a couple points. Their time at the line here. Whiteman calling that one. As Brown sent that one over. Here is Paulman slamming down to the floor. Unable to get there was Cesarini. As Green Bay takes the lead a little bit further as it's 17-14. Junta back there for the serve once again. This one up, over. No one there to pick it up. Whiteman saw the ground and made a desperate play to try to get there. Looks like it'd be a bad read by Wickman, and a timeout is called by the Grizzlies as they are desperate not to drop this second set. You can see in the replay back and forth, Wickman was trying to get a play of it, but just an awkward angle coming off of that serve just sent that one rocking into where no man's land, which is normally the ground she likes to cover, causing Whiteman, who normally, plays in the back line, to cover nearly the entire court to try to make a play on it. Green Bay keeps finding these gaps, though, in the Oakland defense, as Oakland was leaving a lot of floor space vulnerable. You'll have to see what type of adjustments they can make, if any, to try to cover those up, other than the fact that Green Bay has been doing a wonderful job capitalizing on that open floor. Other than that, Green Bay's efforts are not going in vain. It looks like Corey Schrader is giving another quick pet talk with head coach Sutherland there as well. And to keep up the momentum and keep mixing things up as they are, throwing Oakland off. Timeout is over. Both teams retaking the court. This brings Junta back in for the serve. Nice hard low. This one right to Wickman. Whiteman calling this one. Brown slapping that right to Gardner. Gentry there getting this up. Here is Banky trying to find that backcourt once again, but Wickman was there this time around. Brown just trying to keep that one going. A fantastic job by Gentry pulling that one off the floor. Here's Wickman one more time. And that was Nye trying to send that one over. Here's Gentry to Kootenai. Send that one to the floor, and that one was in once again, just out of the reach of Whiteman. As Green Bay picks up their 5-point lead once again in this game. She's just barely out of the reach. She made a wonderful effort on that one. Looks like Oakland is challenging the play. It was a close one. I guess there's two questions where you can play, is where the ball landed and if or Lindsay Whiteman got her fingertips on it at all. Because if Whiteman's fingers touched the ball at all, it doesn't matter where the ball landed. Point would go to Green Bay, but her fingers didn't. Looks like that's a very clear angle on this one. The ball landed right on the line. We'll be able to have to see what the referee calls on this one. It's a close one. It's not a job envied by many, as there will always be scrutiny. But it looks like they'll be making their final deliberations. That would be almost a fantastic angle, but just clipped barely out of screen there. of whether that one is considered out. She is letting these scorers know. And they are awarding the points to Green Bay. The call will stand. Excellent job by the line referee of getting that call correct. This brings up Junta trying to get Green Bay to 20. They've been calling it. Big slam by Riedel on that one, and this one is out. And Green Bay gets this one. 20-14. Oakland calls another timeout. Oakland is in a bit of a situation here as they are quickly down once again, this time by 6. As Green Bay is coming out down. Green Bay, though, is looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. They lost one. They dropped sets 1-3 to White State, 0-3 to Northern Kentucky, and they lost 1-3 to Milwaukee. Their last win hasn't been since October 24th against Illinois University. The Grizzlies, though, picked up wins against Cleveland State, Youngstown State, and Robert Morris University, going 3-2, 3-2, and 3-0. So they are not shy about winning this ones in a full 5 sets. And if they keep playing like this, that might be their only hope so far today of beating Green Bay. Green Bay's timeout was called a little bit earlier as the team is on a roll right now. You can see energy is high for them. Smiles all around. They know this Oakland team is strong, and to come out in back-to-back sets like this and take impressive leads going forward is something to be happy about. Oakland is starting to feel the pressure a little bit as coming back down 0-2 in the sets is difficult for anyone. And this one is out of bounds, and Oakland gets a nice, quick, easy point on this one. The quick substitution is being made as Walling steps out and Brown comes in. Brown looking to cut this deficit, down by 5. Green Bay only 5 to go. Nice flight right to Gardner. Gentry sets it up to Zakutny. Zakutny crosses that one right on over, right back to Brown. Quick flick back to the net. Paulman picks that one up. Gentry sets that one right back over. Good back and forth at the net, but Green Bay came out on top. You can see it fighting right back and forth. Nye just trying to flick that one over, but Gentry read that one perfectly and did the exact same right back over. And with Nye already going down, not a lot of room to be made on top of their fingers there, as that ball just over the hands and finds the floor. Cicerini picks that one up as Brown sends that one rightly over. Junta to Gentry. Coughlin slams that one right to Whiteman. This one to Wickman. Cicerini catches that one right at the net, unable to clear it. And that was a 4th hit on Oakland as the Green Bay Phoenix are now 3 away from closing out this second set. Zakutny back at the line for the serve. Nice, low, right to Wickman, to Brown. Cicerini was able to bust that one through the hands of the Phoenix as Oakland picks up a much-needed point. Substitution being made. Nye is taking a step out as Sydney Mann comes in. Sydney, a senior from West Bloomfield, Michigan, making her appearance here. Here's Gentry, Paulman. And this one picked up off the net as Green Bay picks this one up. This brings up Abby Gardner trying to close this one out. Just getting over the net, barely unable to get there in time was Haley Brown. No fault to the Grizzlies on that one. It is net ball's momentum was changed because of the net, as Gardner looks to get the ace once more. This one right to Whiteman. Brown picks that one up. Big attack by Riedel on that one. And this one is out of bounds. Coughlin looking to try to seal the deal. Put a little too much power on that one. Another couple of substitutions as Welch comes in and Dalmage comes in as Wickman and Brown takes a seat. A quick back and forth at the net, and Green Bay picks up their 25th point, and that will close out the second set. Second set ends 25-17. The Phoenix up on top. We'll be back right after this break for more Horizon League volleyball here at the Crest Event Center. We are back here at the Crest Event Center, and the Horizon League is comprised of 12 public and private institutions located in some of the largest cities in the country, including 10 schools in top 70 media markets. To learn more, visit horizonleague.com. And we are just wrapping up a student event as they are trying to make some volleyballs into some of these barrels for a couple t-shirts. So far, we've only seen one person make it in, and it's fairly clear why some are in attendance to the sports and some are performing the sports. But the energy is high, and it's been almost a miracle that some of us here, oh, and there it is, we almost got hit. And some of these balls are bouncing wildly around. We must look out for our equipment. But as this is coming to its close, Oakland has its work cut out for them. They are down 2-0 in their sets. And they haven't been swept in a series since October 16th against Wright State University. Oakland still trying to fight for some good seeding in a playoff race. Is making as much effort as they can to come back. But with the Green Bay dominance as they are right now, we will see how well they can do. Meanwhile, the Green Bay team is doing a fantastic job of managing the strong Oakland team. Taking the first set, 25-16, and the second set, 25-17. So Oakland only managed to score one more point than their first one. But Green Bay has been doing an excellent job about downplaying their fouls and errors. Normally they are an error-heavy team. But Green Bay is doing a fantastic job of keeping those numbers low, which is really showing how well the team has been practicing and coordinating their efforts together. Oakland leads in all error categories. They have 1 blocking error, 1 ball handling error, and 8 reception errors. Green Bay, though, some of the big difference makers, has 8 service aces to Oakland's 2. There's multiple more assists. Green Bay has 29 assists to Oakland's 10. But those points differential should surprise nobody, as Green Bay has been making a valiant effort of mixing up the assists. Callie Gentry, assist leader for Green Bay with 27 assists so far. Out of the 29 assists made by Green Bay, 27 belonging to one player, is why she got our player spotlight of the day. While it is primarily her job to be the primary setter, those efforts to get to that position, to being the everyday player, means that she put her team before her for anyone else. Looks like the timeout is called. Green Bay already on the court as Oakland is coming out of the back rooms. They had their timeout in the back as their normal area was taken up by some volleyball buckets. They're getting underway on this one. It'll be Oakland's. It'll be Oakland's serve. This one picked up by Banky. Send that one over, and that was a very quick start as Oakland takes the 1-point lead for the 3rd time. Oakland has been good about scoring first, but they have not been that good about scoring again right afterwards. You'll see if they've been able to change things up for this one as Gentry sets this up for Zakutny. Zakutny fires that one right into the arms of Whiteman as Green Bay picks up the 2nd point as well. It's been almost predictable how these ones start now for the 3rd time in a row. Oakland gets the 1st point as Green Bay gets the 2nd. And as always, here comes Zoe Sorelli with the serve. Sorelli already has 4 aces on the day. Missed that one by a little bit. Here is Cesarini as that one found the floor. Gentry trying to get there, but not wanting to get in the way of Banky. Avoided the collision right there. You can see here in the backcourt how confusion could have been made. Didn't want to collide. This will be Oakland's lead. 2-1. First time all game. Gentry sets that one up to Kootenai, right to Whiteman. Here is Wickman. That one sends that one over. Here is Gentry. Paulman slaps that one right off the hands of Haley Brown as Green Bay ties this one up 2-2. This will bring Junta up. Junta with 2 aces as well. And 2 errors as well in the serves. Got this one off cleanly. This one slapped right to the floor. Fantastic job by Anna Nye. Reading that defense and finding the gap in the back court. You can see shoot the defenders and split them evenly, and Benke was just barely able to get a hand on it. That brings up Dolmage. Gardner keeping that one alive. And this one unable to go further as Paulman sends that one into the net. Gardner was there. Did a good job pulling that one off. But unable to make it out as this is the biggest lead the Grizzlies have had all game. Kootenai slaps that one. And this is Green Bay point. Looks to be off the hands of Nye and Welch. This brings up Kootenai. Looking to tie this one up. The serve. Right to Whiteman. Dolmage. Welch. Gardner. Here's Gentry. Big slap by Coughlin. Brown was there, but unable to get a good play on it. Was Dolmage. That one was skirting the net a little bit too close, you can see right there. And is not able to get there in time without getting the net violation and let that one fall. As Green Bay is looking to take the lead on this one. Cesarini sends that one over. Here is Gentry. Flicking that one over. She is good at those. As Callie Gentry gets the tricky kill on that one. The Grizzlies are so used to seeing her get up there with a nice set, they forget that she has the ability to send that one over the net as well. That brings the Kootenai another serve. Here is Welch flicking that one over. Junta was there this time. Gentry. Paulman slaps that one down. Unable to get there in time with Cesarini. Dolmage was there, got her hand underneath. Cesarini was able to get there, but was unable to get the ball through the antenna. As Green Bay gets another shot here with Kootenai with the serve. Dolmage. And that one off the face of Gentry, but able to recover it nicely was Paulman. Quick back and forth. Paulman sets. Here is Gentry. And it is Coughlin with the attack and kill on this one. You can see the next quick back and forth. Split the defenders and off the hands of Brown as she was doing all she could to cover that ground. That brings the Kootenai up again. And this rally will come a bit to an end there as Oakland picks up an easy point on the service error. This brings up Patty Cesarini. It's an over. Junta. Unable to get that one. Enough air to get underneath. Gentry making a valiant effort. Not needing to sacrifice a body in every play. Let that one go. This brings up Cesarini again. Nice, beautiful serve right to Gardner. Gentry. Coughlin is there. Slaps that one right to Whiteman. Dolmage. Sent the Whiteman back over. Here's Gentry with the set. Here's Coughlin again with a big attack. Cesarini is there this time. Dolmage flicks that one over. Tried to take a page out of the book of Gentry, but unable to get that one off as Green Bay was there at the net to intercept it as Green Bay maintains their lead. You can see it right here trying to get that play and just doesn't clear the net. Paulman was there. This brings Gardner up in a good position. She get a good serve there. Junta sends that one. Gentry is there. Zakutny sends that one over right to Whiteman. Here's Dulridge. Here's a good effort by Nye to try to get that one through, but unable to do so. Gives Green Bay another point. Green Bay with a 9-6 lead. Up 2-0. Gardner, nice, low, right to Dulmage, to Whiteman. Here's Walling. And this one nearly takes the head off of Cesarini. She was unable to get there. And a timeout is called by Oakland. And we'll be back right after these messages here at the Crest Event Center for more Horizon League of Volleyball.
I'll never stop learning.
Because life never stops teaching.
Education equals power.
Once you have it,
No one can take it away.
No one.
No one.
education opens doors.
By asking the hardest questions.
About justice and peace.
Answering our biggest challenges.
Because we can never stop believing.
No matter who you are, where you're from,
Or what you want to be.
What matters most is that
We never stop learning.
Because together we rise.
It's always out there. The horizon. A reminder that our greatest goals are rarely attained. And as soon as you reach one, another emerges. But every day we rise and work harder, dig deeper, ask one more question, take one more shot in relentless pursuit of our horizon.
We are back here at the Crest Event Center. Oakland had to call a timeout there. They had their first lead of the game, of the matches earlier today, with only a 2-point lead, but they quickly squandered that to Green Bay, as Green Bay is once again back on top, 10-6. Oakland in the playoff chase, needing to make some moves here. This brings Gardner in with the serve. Right to Whiteman. Dulbridge calling this one. Big attack, and this one out of bounds as Nye was unable to find the court on that one. As Green Bay walks off with a point there. It was a close one, just riding the line. This lets Gardner have another chance here with the serve. And this one is the service error on Gardner. Green Bay, now with several service errors, leading that category now. Looks like a substitution is being made here as Nye steps out and Sydney Mann checks in. Mann, nice strong serve, right to Junta. Gentry, Eaton slaps that one over right to Cesarini. Dulridge. And that is a wild hit by Cornist. Cornist trying to get that one to fall. Unable to do so. This will have Gentry up for the serve. Nice light serve by Gentry. Sets that one play up. Welch gets that one going. Oakland will get the point on that one. This will be Wickman with the serve. Gentry, Coughlin. So it finds the ground. You can see the frustration growing on the Grizzlies side. As this time, this one finds the backcourt. You can see it split right between Whiteman and Cesarini. Both giving way to the other, but neither taking. Whiteman gets this one. Here's a huge attack by Riedel as Gardner was unable to cover that one. You can see the huge pickup there, right to Gardner. Gardner unable to make that play, thinking that Gentry might have gotten it. Not as quick in the reaction speed as you need from that back court. It brings up Haley Brown for the serve. Here's Gentry. Zakutny slaps that one right to Whiteman. Wickman takes that one. And Cesarini this time getting the kill. A little bit clustered at the net there, unable to make a play on it, or the Phoenix, as it was off the defender's hands and no one covering behind them. That gives Brown another opportunity here as Gentry sets it up for Junta. Junta flicking it over. And this one goes to Green Bay. A nice light tap by Junta. Caught the Grizzlies off guard as this one came back over but under the net. And this will bring up ace leader of the day, Zoe Sorelli. Still with 4 aces. Need to pick up another one. Clean serve. Cicerelli set that one up. Gentry. Cicerelli. Junta slaps that one over. Big dive by Brown to keep that one going. Wickman sent that one over. Desperation. Here is Gentry. Zakutny slaps that one right to Wickman. Couple back and forth in the end there. Trying to get that one going. Caught him between the net, but Whiteman is able to get that one recovered and send it over. Paulman sent that one over. Unable to make a play on it, but keeping it alive was Wickman. Here's Sorelli. Gentry makes it. Sorelli sending it right back over. Good job by Green Bay getting there. Oakland looking to space themselves out, setting up for the attack again. A big attack blocked at the net, though. Picked up by Green Bay once more. Junta sending that one over and finds the floor as Green Bay picks up a huge point on that one. Green Bay with their 5-point lead, 15-10, here at the Crest Event Center. It's been an electric game so far as Green Bay has really been pulling out all the stops and trying to shut this Oakland team down. This brings up Sorelli once more. Here's the serve to Whiteman. Brown. Cesarelli sends that one through. Stopped at the net by Paulman. Gentry sets this one up. This one is going to Junta. Junta gets that one through the hands of the defenders as Green Bay picks up another point. As the Phoenix take a big lead here. And it looks like a timeout is called by Oakland. Wow, we have been seeing some fantastic volleyball here tonight here in Green Bay. I hope all you at home are enjoying it as much as everyone here in the stands. Green Bay has figured their game out so far and how to attack Oakland, and Oakland has just been struggling to keep up. You can see in this last play that everyone had their role set up. Junta was there. Paulman got their hands on it. Gentry sends that one back. Junta sends that one nice and wide right off the hands of Cesarini and Cornice, and just unable to make the play on it was Wickman over in that side court. It's a fantastic cross attack. Green Bay has this team figured out right now. And the Horizon League is comprised of 12 institutions that are committed to safe competition for student athletes, coaches, administrators, and fans, while also helping to ensure and provide support for the health and wellness of over 3,000 student athletes. To learn more, visit horizonleague.com. Both teams taking the floor again. Energy high for Green Bay, as being up 2-0 in the sets has got to feel good against this strong Oakland team. Oakland having an off night apparently. Haven't been down like this in a while. As Zoe Sorelli is back in with a beautiful serve right to Wickman. Brown's there. As Riegel sends that one over, here is Junta once again finding the floor, slamming that one down right in front of Brown and Whiteman. As Green Bay increases their lead to 7. You see excellent coordination, really utilizing those corner attacks and those opposite hitters to really mix up their attack strategy. Junta went cross the one before and went right along the line on this one, just finding her gaps. Spring Cesarini trying to find the gaps as well, right to Sorelli. Here's Junta once again crossing that way. Whiteman is there to pick it up this time. Riedel sends that one forward. Here's Gentry. Here's Zakutny slapping that one down right to the floor. It is 18-10, Green Bay Phoenix on top. I must say there's got to be something behind it, as Green Bay is finding magic behind Sorelli's serves here. As there's been multiple point runs with her at the helm with the serve. Once again, let's see if the magic is there, and this one does not clear the net. And she will pick up another service error. Well, Sorelli leads with service aces and service errors. That happens when you are serving a bunch for Green Bay. A couple substitutions will be made as Eaton and Sorelli both take a seat and take a breather. Gentry back to Junta. Brown is there this time around. Wickman. Cesarini. Banky keeping that one going. Here is Zakutny slapping that one over right to Whiteman. Wickman trying to find the floor and does a fantastic job as Gentry and Gardner collided a bit there. Both are fine, but unable to make a clean play on it due to the collision. Gives the Golden Grizzlies a chance here to pull off a comeback. Here is Whiteman, Zakutny, Gentry, Paulman slapping that one, and that one finds the floor right off the fingertips of a diving Haley Brown. It was good effort all around. You can see a little bit slowed down by the hands of the defenders. To no fault of them, they are doing their job. Nye and Riedel doing everything they can to stop that ball there. And here is Brown up front. Here's Cesarini slapping that one right to Junta, to Gentry. Here's Zakutny getting that one through. Here is Whiteman making a huge play. Excellent job by Riedel keeping that one alive. Gardner was there though. Gentry, here's Zakutny once more right to Whiteman. Whiteman sends that one over. Here's Gardner, Gentry, Zakutny once more, and this time finds the floor as Green Bay gets to 20. As the Phoenix have a dominant 8-point lead in this third set. You can see fantastic teamwork all around here. They set up the exact same way twice in a row, and this time Green Bay found the floor on that one. And this brings up Ito Junta for the serve. Nice, clean, low right to Whiteman. Brown, here's Cesarini, just trying to keep that one in. Zakutny there, Gentry settling up. Coughlin finds the floor right in the back court. My apologies, that was Paulman. Because everyone is getting a piece of this team right now. Here is Junta once more. This one awkwardly off the Grizzlies here. Cesarini keeping that one in. Here's Zakutny, Gentry, Paulman slapping that one in, and this time it was Cesarini with the block. But this one did not stay in. As Green Bay picks up another point, you can see right here as it comes off the slap and just right out of bounds. Unfortunate ending with a good clean block though. Here's Cesarini there, the Gardner. Here's Gentry over to Zakutny. Zakutny fires it right at Whiteman. Whiteman having to make that dive, and Green Bay is 2 away from sealing the deal. Green Bay has pulled out all stops in this third and potentially final set, as they have doubled the lead now on the Golden Grizzlies. Whiteman, Brown, Cesarini getting there. A little bit of confusion there in the way. And Tiffany Paulman sets that one right to the floor, and Green Bay is 1 away from closing this one out. Here is Ito Junta trying to end this one. And she does with an ace. Your Green Bay Phoenix ends this one in a dominant fashion, 25-12 over the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. It is a 3-set sweep, which ends with an ace for Ito Junta. You can see her right here, just right in front of Whiteman, and unable to make that play. And it's been a dominant showing here at home by your Green Bay Phoenix. And we are going to